Chargers. They were a top 10 team in points per game at all four positions, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. They have lost Hunter Henry to the year with an ACL tear, but I want to kick it off at the top of the depth chart with Phillip Rivers. What are we projecting for him in 2018?
So first and foremost, I think I like what the steps that this defense has taken. They came on last year. They were great against the pass. They added a lot up front also. So I think this defense actually takes the next step. For Phillip Rivers, he's got a career 5.3 per touchdown percentage. Interceptions and turnovers are normally his issue, but he had a career low last year on his interception rate. So I expect the Chargers to run a little bit more, throw a bit less because of the defense. He's got weapons all over the place, but with Rivers, I think it's just more the same. He's going to be in your streamer conversation. If there's an injury or something, he could sneak into the back end in top 12, but the turnovers will keep him from being there. And I think the defense kind of tempers his volume a little bit this year.
You pretty much just read my notes. You hit on his 1.7 career low interception rate. It's the second time he's posted a sub 2 interception rate, so we do expect that to probably rise back up to 2 around there. He was a QB9 last year, 16.9 points per game. And just like you said, you know what you're going to get from Rivers. You're going to get some dominant stretches. You're going to get some lackluster stretches. It's just, he's a great streaming quarterback and a guy that's worth drafting in the 10th round, which is where he's going right now.
All right. Justin?
For me, I've got Phillip Rivers in my top 10 for quarterbacks. I mean, it's hard to take a guy out of the top 10 who has pretty much finished in the top 10 for majority of his career. He has been. I think there was only 1 or 2 years in his career that he's been outside the top 10. So, and the team seems to be offensively full strength with all the wide receivers. And if Mike Williams is back, and I know that it does hurt a little bit with Hunter Henry, unfortunately, being injured, but I think that they're going to pick it up in the run game, and then the wide receivers will step it up in the red zone.
Yeah, I think Mike Williams actually benefits a lot from Hunter Henry being hurt.
Yeah,
most definitely.
And Rivers was in my top 10 before the Henry injury, but that slid him just outside. He's now my 13th, which is where he's going in ADP as the 13th quarterback off the board.
Did the same thing.
So I still think he's a high-end QB2, and if you wait on quarterback, he'd be a great double pair if you want to grab him and, say, Mariota, Winston, somebody like that as a double pairing.
Yeah. He's got all the weapons in the world.
All right, let's kick it off to Melvin Gordon. He was 6th in points per game last year at 17.9 in full point PPR. Do you guys think he'll stay that high this season, or are you projecting a little bit of a regression for him?
I don't expect regression, actually. I expect his efficiency to be a bit better and his volume to go nowhere. They got Forrest Lamp back, who was their highly drafted rookie last year, and he got hurt. I believe they signed Mike Pouncey, which is also going to help up the middle, which is where Gordon typically runs. So I also project a little bit of a volume increase, not a lot, but a little bit. And again, this just goes back towards that defense taking the next step. The defense takes the next step. They're not throwing to win games. They're going to get up there. You know, teams that are in the lead are going to run the ball more, and that's going to fall squarely on Melvin Gordon to keep the chains moving. I do think his target volume regresses a little bit, though, because of a healthy Mike Williams. So in the addition of Justin Jackson, who I think could see himself get involved a little bit as a change of pace and kind of in the passing game, but then also what Eckler showed last year. So I think in the passing game, he sees a bit of regression, but I think he's a better runner this year, and a little bit of bump at the goal line also because of not just efficiency with Pouncey and Forrest Lamp, but also because of an injury to Hunter Henry.
So you like him, you're bumping him more in standard than PPR than based on what you described.
Yes, I am bumping him more in standard than PPR. I think ultimately it's about a wash in half PPR. And, you know, in full PPR, then it'll take him down a little bit. But I mean, he's still a top 10 for me, easy.
All right, Justin?
Yeah, I got to agree. I've got him just right on the insides of the top 10. So I've got him at 8 for me. And that's, I mean, the guys like Bell, Gurley, Zeke, David Johnson, Kamara, Fournette, and Barkley all ahead of him. And I think my biggest knock on him is the fact that I have a feeling, and it just seems like they're wanting to save him throughout the season and not use him so much that it just sounds like Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson, like you said, the rookie out of Northwestern, are going to see some time. And I'm just unsure exactly how much you're going to see of them and how much points they're going to take off the board of him from last year, where I think he had like 250 some fantasy points. So I've got him somewhere right around that 240, 250 time window for fantasy points again this year, though.
Dan?
I mean, you guys hit on all the points. He's my RB9, hit 18 points per game last year in PPR leagues, which was good for RB5. A lot like Julio Jones, he's going to give you massive the number one week. He did it in back-to-back weeks this year, I think early on. Then he'll give you a couple duds as his efficiency number. He's not the world's greatest efficient running back, as we've seen so far, sub 4 yards per carry all 3 seasons. But he's always good for 12 plus in PPR leagues. I think they're going to use him more, or not use him more. I think he may not get 83 targets, but they've already said they want to use him more, in the passing game. The loss of Hunter Henry may give him an uptick a little bit in passing, just because he's been somewhat reliable for them in the passing game. So, but he's about as not safe, but he's good.
I had him just a little bit higher than Justin points wise. I got him at about 260, so not a ton higher, but
yeah, I have him at 9. I bumped the same list that Justin has, but I also moved Dalvin Cook in front of him too.
Same here.
Overall, though, I think he's going to be great, and I am a little concerned about Eckler and Jackson taking a large chunk of his passing down work, but I'm assuming he'll still get enough to still be top 10, top 12 at worst.
I think I projected him for 20 less targets.
Okay, that's probably about safe.
That's about career for him.
Yeah.
All right. Between Eckler and Jackson, if you're taking one in redraft, which one do you prefer? Actually, Justin, I want you to start this one.
Man, I really like Austin Eckler, and I think he's got at least a blueprint of what he can do when he's given the opportunity. But I just think something special about the Justin Jackson out of Northwestern. I just think something about him that by maybe quarter to halfway through the season, he's going to jump Eckler, whether that's by injury or just by overall performance.
All right. Well, Hopper and Justin are now best friends.
Yep. No, I'm right there with you. The first time I watched Justin Jackson, I fell in love with his tape, except for the weird stiff arm thing he tries to do all the time, where he always looks like he's ready to stiff arm somebody. I think he's dynamic. I think he tested better at the combine than what I expected. Yes, Eckler has a blueprint for what he can do. You've seen him do it, but I wouldn't be surprised if that shifts a little bit as the season goes on towards Justin Jackson.
Yep, I think it's Austin maybe the first couple weeks, and then Jackson will earn his way on the field. I'm with Hopper here and with Justin here. I love Justin Jackson. Hopper texted me while watching the film, and he was like, "You got to watch him." I'm like, "All right, cool." I fell in love with that tape. Eckler is, he was able to, prove it last year that he can be a decent chase and pace back. I mean, there was a point in time where he was flex worthy because he just had, the big play potential.
Yeah, and just the fact that he has done it in the NFL, I am sticking with Eckler as my choice between the two. Not putting a lot of chips on him. He's my 59th running back in my rankings, but he's not even being drafted right now. Either is Jackson. So between the two, if I was going to grab one late in a deeper draft, Eckler would be my guy. Moving on to the receiving core, where do you guys have Keenan Allen ranked, who finished 4th in points per game in PPR last
Wide
year?
receiver 4. We got a little bit of hate for it too. They're like, why do you have him ahead of Julio Jones and Michael Thomas? And I'm like, because he's going to get fucking fed.
Yeah, he was, 6th in the league last year in red zone targets from the wide receiver position.
He finished 2nd with 24 targets. He finished as the number 1 receiver in red zone targets and only behind Jimmy Graham as a whole.
Okay, so even better than I might remembered.
So I had him at 5. I think 159 targets is kind of a lot to repeat with a healthy Mike Williams. Even with the loss of Henry, you've still got Travis Benjamin that's there. You're bringing Dylan Cantrell into the mix. He's a guy that at least athletically profiled really well and we know can block, which is going to put him on the field. Tyrell Williams. So Keenan Allen still clear-cut 1. I think Mike Williams is a clear-cut 2. But I think there's a slight regression from 159 targets. He really was the only wide receiver getting targeted last year. Melvin Gordon was 2nd on the team, and then the 2 tight ends, I think, combined to be 3rd on the team. So I like Keenan Allen, and like I said, he is my 5, so he's definitely somebody I'm happy to own in Dynasty and would be happy to draft and redraft. I just see the target volume falling back. I think I projected him at 139 for this year.
All right, Justin?
Yeah, I've got him. Man, we must be sharing notes. I've got him as my 5th wide receiver in half-point PPR this year, just ahead of Julio and Adam Thielen, but behind Hopkins, Brown, Beckham, and Michael Thomas. So I see definitely with the fact that there is no Hunter Henry, I think that increases his red zone targets as well, which, as you guys said, it was pretty high last year. So I don't know how much higher you can really get. But overall, I mean, he had like 229 fantasy points last year in half point, but I think I've got him projected out just a little bit above, right around the 210 mark for half point, and that's not because I don't think he's going to be good. I just think that Mike Williams is going to step up this year and be in there and kind of take some points away.
I got him at 206.9.
All right.
All right. I need to take a quick pause here. Did you just say that Adam Thielen was your wide receiver 7?
He is.
All right. I need to hear an explanation on that one.
I just think that I still just think that he is going to be the main guy in that offense for receiving wise, and I just think that he's going to get targeted. I know that Cousins likes to spread the ball around, but I just think that him and Thielen will gel well, and I think that Diggs is going to still be in that right around that 12, 13, but I just think that Thielen is going to be in that top 10 for sure.
All right. So you got both is
don't
borderline.
question his methods.
Just let it go.
Hey,
let it go.
He's pumping up our offense, and Nick and I are big Vikings fans. So
we're off the rails here because we're with Vikings fans right now.
I just got one last follow-up question. How high do you have Cousins if those two are in the top 13?
Let me pull up my quarterbacks. I've got Cousins at number 5.
Yay, same here.
Okay.
Right. And back to our regularly scheduled division.
All right. We've mentioned Mike Williams quite a few times here. Where do you guys have him?
You start him with rankings, and I get ready to just present my argument for things.
He's currently going at 11.9 in ADP, 51st wide receiver off the board.
I got him higher than that.
He's my 56. I am. It's not that I'm a huge Tyrell Williams truther, but this goes back to the Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson conversation of, who do you want, the guy that's done it before or the guy that's got the potential upside to him?
He's 52, but as I mentioned before, that's kind of my gut feeling rankings as I deep dive and project these guys out before we get into our actual rankings episodes. He's going to come up. He battled a shoulder injury last year. The injury to Hunter Henry makes him, I think, probably their best red zone option. And Rivers has supported 2 outside receivers in a past life with Whisenhunt as his offensive coordinator. So I personally have Mike Williams projected at... Hold on. Somebody else talk while I figure out where he went.
All right, Justin, give your take while he's figuring it out.
I got it.
Go ahead then.
And I apparently didn't copy it over. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Back to me. Mike Williams, I've got him projected out just under 90 fantasy points. So I just think he's going to take. I think him and Tyrell Williams are going to be fighting for that wide receiver 2 points on that team specifically. So I watched Mike Williams in college, and he just kind of had that. I don't want to call it DeAndre Hopkins type, but I mean, he is that kind of talented wide receiver. And I mean, coming out of Clemson didn't help either for his case. So,
I mean, yeah, his jump ball ability is unbelievable. So if they start feeding him in the red zone, he could start putting up points in a hurry.
Right. Yeah. I'm just saying he's played against pretty big competition, and he's not a slouch when it comes to that. And he enjoys the competition, which is always good for a main wide receiver.
I'm pretty sure I was right there with you. I apparently didn't copy it out of the projections worksheet into my actual rankings, and I'm not going to try to load that workbook while I'm recording a podcast. So
we'll just say you said around 85. I said 86, so we'll just say you said 83 since we seem to be about 2 or 3 points off of each other.
Sounds good. Yep, I'm down with that. That's where I got it.
There you go.
All right, and then any thoughts on Tyrell Williams?
Not really. I mean, you had just a bunch of guys after Keenan Allen last year with Tyrell Williams and Travis Benjamin and whoever else took targets there. So with Tyrell Williams, he never took hold on the number 2. He only saw 4.2 targets a game. With Williams in house, Cantrell's likely going to take some snaps. You still got Travis Benjamin. Those last 3 are a crapshoot, and it's probably going to be a different one every game.
Yeah, Williams needed an Allen injury before he was relevant.
I still think Allen. I still think both Williams are going to compete against each other more so than anything. I mean, Williams played 12 games, not 12 games, 9 games, and he still struggled to see the field. He struggled to get his targets. I do expect that to increase, yes.
In his defense, he missed the majority of the offseason program due to his injuries. Yeah.
And when you look at their target share, it was 153 for Keenan Allen, I think 80 some odd to Melvin Gordon, 86 to the tight ends between the 2 of them, and then everybody else is in the 50s and 60s.
I mean,
it wasn't meaningful.
I had them both ranked right next to each other. I think one of them will take this spot, and they're both going for their ADP wise, they're both going as a in the bench stash. So
I think Mike Williams is so much more talented than Tyrell Williams that I can't rank them that close.
And he fits a bigger need that this team has.
The red zone.
Yeah, the red zone versus they have 2 deep threats in Williams and Benjamin.
Yep. And then Cantrell's different than all of them because he's an underneath slot type of receiver. So
He's a big possession receiver.
who the hell knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It could be him. You never know.
This team's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Do we think there's going to be...
Hold on.
Actually,
Justin, your thoughts on those last three?
What was the last three?
It was
Sorry.
Tyrell
the tight
Williams,
ends?
Tyrell Williams, Travis Benjamin, Dylan Cantrell. Anything behind Mike Williams and Keenan Allen? Because I think it's just a bunch of
I was
guys.
say, if I had to pick somebody outside of Mike Williams or Keenan Allen, it'd have to be Tyrell Williams, just because I think he's probably got the most comfortableness, I guess, or comfortability
Rapport.
with Rivers. So, yeah.
I
I guess if I had to, I would put Tyrell Williams ahead of all the other guys. I'm not saying other guys can't have good weeks, but on a consistent week-to-week basis, I would trust Tyrell Williams.
all right. And then Justin, any thoughts on what they might do at tight end here?
Roll a dice and see who picked the right number before they suit up. I guess I don't know. Virgil Green is probably the best option, but I really hope that they go out and get Antonio Gates just to bring him back, because I feel like outside of that, Virgil Green is not the most prolific tight end. But
I mean, he's an amazing blocker, but he's not fantasy.
Oh
relevant.
yeah, but I mean, in fantasy relevance, I mean, unless we start adding fantasy blocking points, I mean, he's
Points per pancake.
guy.
Don't give Hopper ideas.
Points per pancake.
Yeah, and then you get a half a point loss for a hold call. So yeah, I mean, we can figure it out. Link.
114. I was wrong earlier. 114 targets went to the tight end last season, but neither's going to play this year. So, they also combined for 7.
The Keenan Allen hype train. That's where that's at.
Yeah,
they also combined
right.
for 7 touchdowns. I think that most of that does go to, Mike Williams and his 23 targets and offsets that. But some of that's going to go to Allen in the red zone. Some of that's just going to be converted into Melvin Gordon goal line opportunities. So for me, whoever's the starting tight end here, you have to like him just because of how much Rivers has traditionally used the tight end, especially in the shallow tight end pool. I think they kind of got to rise towards the top of that, but I'm not in love with anything. If they re-sign Antonio Gates, then I'm at least intrigued more so than I am right now.
Or Kobe Fleener.
But I don't love anything there right now.
All right. Anything else we want to add on the Chargers before we move on?
Nope.